Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. I get to work with my wife every day. I mean, how much better does it get than that?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
What do you want?
Nothing. You want to rub my feet, though? No, I'm just kidding. I don't really need anything. It is a Wednesday. I've got a great guest coming up later in this program. I've always been fascinated by UFOs. Always.
I know.
When I was a kid, I checked out every book in the library about UFOs. Every single one of them. Some of them multiple times. Well, there's a new book out called CharlieRedStar. Now, some people are probably going, what the heck is that? Well, it's from 1975, and it is one of the biggest UFO sightings, like by more people than anybody in North America. One of the biggest, anyway. And I've got a gentleman who has a book on that, and it sounds fascinating. So I'm looking forward to visiting with Grant Cameron later in the program. Also, I've got a quote from Vince Van Gogh. You know that guy, right?
I do know who that is.
He cut off his ear and mailed it to
I don't
somebody.
know him personally, but
yeah.
I'm familiar.
I would rather die of passion than of boredom. He's the guy that cut off his ear and mailed it to somebody. So definitely passionate. That's our quote for the day. We've got much more on the way.
John and Heidi.
Are you paying a bundle to the cable company? Cut the cable and save with the all-new ChannelSurferTV.com. We've added several solutions that could save you money every month. We have dish TV options and internet TV solutions that start from just $20 a month. We even have an HD TV antenna for $30 to get the local channels with no monthly fee. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. We'll do our very best to find the perfect TV solution for you. ChannelSurferTV.com. Movies and TV with a low monthly fee. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, September the 20th. Today is National Rehabilitation Day. It is National String Cheese Day. Oh, I love string cheese.
I do too.
Now, do you pull it apart and eat it in strings, or
Yes.
you just bite the end off?
Well, what's the point in having string cheese if you're just going to bite the end off?
Every once in a while, I'll bite the end off, and then it kind of feels weird, like when you're chewing it, it falls apart funny. I don't know. So that's kind of fun to do, too. Although, the string part's better. Also, it is School Backpack Awareness Day today as well. So, does our daughter have a backpack? She does, doesn't she?
She does.
She's in school.
Yeah.
What is her backpack? Is it that flowery thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say I've seen
Vera
it.
Bradley thing.
She's had that a couple years now.
She has, and I replaced it, and she's
you?
still carrying the old one.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it's nice. When you were a kid, did you have like a cool backpack? What was your
No.
favorite? Did you have a favorite?
I didn't. I had one I wanted, and I never got it,
Oh.
and I'm traumatized still to this day.
Well, the one I wanted was Gizmo, and my brother Joe had one of the gremlins. His was red with a gremlin. Mine was green with Gizmo. I don't know why I remember that. I just thought it was awesome. Anyway, I'd love to have that backpack still. It was cool. It was awesome.
I bet it was.
Look at that. I got Gizmo. Anyway, that's from the Gremlins, kids.
That perfectly sums up you and your brother,
I know
by
it
the way.
does. Exactly. I thought that was what I liked about it. All right, a lot of stuff going on. We'll get to much, much more later in the program. Thanks for listening on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
Here's Luca from Luca's Boutique. Tell us about the items we'll find at Luca's Boutique.
We have 100% Italian design and Italian made leather goods, artisanally made by artisans, for example, that are commissioned by Gucci, Prada to make bags. We use the same artisans because we know them.
You'll love the fine Italian styles at Luca's Boutique. Leather purses, belts, and more. Learn more at fineitalianstyles.com.
This is Luca from Luca's Boutique, and we have fine Italian styles.
fineitalianstyles.com.
John and Heidi.
This is kind of scary news. A plane clipped a catering truck at Manchester Airport in England. They were getting ready to take off. It caused significant delays, sparking an investigation into the crash. Passengers had to wait for about 3 hours before they could even get on another plane. So I wonder why the passengers had to get interrogated. It's not like they had anything to do with crashing into the thing.
I have no idea.
And they didn't crash. They just, like the what do you call the landing gear stuff didn't go up all the way, and it hit a parked catering truck. So maybe the truck shouldn't have been parked there. I don't know.
Maybe just by talking to the passengers, they were making sure everybody was okay. It's just for legal reasons.
I suppose. It's not like they let you go and then later you say, "Ooh, hey, my shoulder's sore." Sure it is. Yeah, because you were in Vegas and you had a heck of a weekend. It had nothing to do with that catering truck. All right, we got your brain on drugs on the way.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter.
If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. Alvin Pierre Louise, age 28, of Fort Pierce, Florida, was arrested with drugs in his pants pocket. But he told the officers, hey, I should not be arrested. These are not my pants.
What?
He said, I was unaware that there was any Percocet in the pocket of these pants.
Lord.
Because the pants were not his. Police pulled over Louise after a traffic violation. They saw Pierre Louise make a furtive movement with his pants and his hands as if he was hiding something in his front pocket. I've never heard of that word. A furtive? Have you ever heard of that before?
No, but that can be our word of the day.
It
for
could
tomorrow.
be. I have to figure out what it means first. Police said they smelled marijuana in the vehicle. They noticed a large bulge in his pants pocket.
Oh my gosh.
They asked what was in there, and he says, I don't know. I borrowed these pants this morning.
Yeah,
They also
borrowed
found,
your
it gets even
pants.
better, they also found a BB gun and some marijuana. What the heck was he doing with a BB gun? Yeah, you're a big bad drug dealer with your BB gun. Investigators also found about $1,500 in cash in his wallet. They later said he grabbed the pills thinking they were aspirin. Yeah, that's what it was. In addition to the initial traffic violation, he was arrested on a variety of drug charges. He
I'm
had
sure the police...
a plethora
I
of
can't
problems.
believe they didn't believe his story. That was
Yeah.
ironclad.
It was, but he had a plethora of problems with Percocet in the pocket of his pants.
Oh, my gosh.
That he pilfered from some other
Would
person.
you stop?
I was thinking of those all the way through that
I know
story.
you were. You couldn't wait.
I wanted to get them all out. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Again, I don't know if you guys heard this, but the Emmys had the lowest ratings of any Emmys ever.
That makes my heart happy.
It does. Heidi was so upset because she's like, I just wish they wouldn't have turned it into a political thing, which
They
is
do that with
also
every award
why
show.
we don't want to turn this show into a political thing either. So make sure you keep that in mind, Heidi. Monday, I'm just saying, you get upset when other people do it, so don't do the same darn thing. Monday, by the way, was the season premiere of Dancing with the Stars. I did not watch. I know other folks did. I saw Facebook exploding, people talking about it. The celebrities competing in this season are, tell me if you know any of these people, Nick and Vanessa Lachey, Lachey. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I know who Nick Lachey is.
Debbie Gibson, I know her.
Yeah.
Former NFL star Terrell Owens, so T.O.
Yeah.
Sasha Patrice, Pretty Little Liars, I don't know. Drew
know who
Scott
that
from
is.
HGTV's Property Brothers, I like him.
Oh,
He seems
yeah.
like a nice guy. Violinist Lindsay Sterling, Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank,
Oh,
WWE
really?
star Nikki Bella, and ESPN personality and former Paralympian swimmer Victoria Arlen. Oh, I guess there's more down here. Holy cow. Jordan Fisher, former NBA player, and the coach Derek Fisher, and Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. So there you go. Not all of the judges are back. Julianne, I guess, is not going to be back. It's on ABC. So that was way longer than I thought it was, so we're over. Our big screen, little screen brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. Call 800-430-8328. 800-430-8328. Drug Watch Hotline is a marketing firm that represents lawyers jointly advertising their services. By calling Drug Watch Hotline, you agree to receive calls by legal service providers.
John and Heidi.
Now, your scoop of the day. Big news. J.J. Watt has ended his Hurricane Harvey Fund. NFL star, we talked about him. He posted this thing saying, hey, let's see if we can raise some money for these people.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about it, it was up to $13 million.
Right.
Guess how much they raised
How
altogether?
much?
This could have been our good news story for the day. Hurricane Harvey Fund raised, are you ready for this?
Ready.
$37 million.
Whoa.
And there were 209,429 people that donated. So if you do the math on that quickly, that was a lot of money that they
Wow,
raised.
that is
and a lot of
amazing.
people as well. That is just really cool. So if you made a donation to that, thank you. And if you didn't make a donation to that, but you did to another cause, thank you for that. And I also understand if you can't afford to make donations to things, I understand. Don't feel bad because, you know, we're glad that there are people that are doing this. And if you can afford it, that's awesome. But if you can't, please don't feel bad that you couldn't do it. We understand.
I did my part to help. I was at Dollar Tree and I rounded up to the next dollar for
Did you really?
Hurricane. Really.
Okay. Well,
I
that
did.
was nice of you, Heidi. Wow. I like going in there and getting price checks on things. How much is this? It's $1. How about this over here?
Some things are on
$1.
sale.
Oh,
So
really?
Some things are 50% off.
Well, then that joke doesn't work, does it? Speaking of jokes, I don't understand what they're thinking of here. 12 toys were identified as finalists to join this year's National Toy Hall of Fame. You tell me what you think of this. This is the Strong National Museum of Play. They announced this last Tuesday, so this is over a week ago now. The finalists were Matchbox Cars. How are they not already in the Toy Hall of Fame?
Right.
My Little Pony. Okay, yeah, that should be in there. Risk. That's a board game. How is that a toy?
Yeah, I
doesn't make
wouldn't
sense
think
to
that.
me. The Paper Airplane, once again, not really a toy.
That's not
It's
a toy.
a paper
That's something you have to make yourself.
airplane. Yeah. The Wiffle Ball, which should certainly be in there. The game Clue. Okay, it's a game once again. Magic 8 Ball, I suppose. Pez Candy Dispenser.
Pez has to be in there. I cannot believe Pez is not in there.
I just
that
paused
actually
to let
makes
Heidi
me
say.
very, very, very angry.
Yeah, she's got a bunch of those. She's a big fan.
I carry a Pez dispenser in my
She
purse
does. That
at
is
all times.
Kind of embarrassing. I just want to.
And I have those instead of mints. We get done at dinner at a fancy restaurant. Pez.
I don't want a Kermit. No, I want a Miss Piggy this time. Come on. Quit hogging all those to yourself. We missed. Play Food is another one. Sand. Are you serious? Sand?
Sand
How
is
that
not a toy.
And then Transformers and Uno. That rounds out the
If
list.
sand wins, there goes all hope for
I just
humanity.
and I don't understand why some of those are on the list. That's why I was saying. I just don't
I can't believe
get
Pez
it.
isn't already in
Well,
there. That's just
hopefully,
ridiculous.
we're pulling for Pez. I hope they make it. Another one that I really hope makes it in there because it just makes sense. Matchbox Cars. I mean,
Yeah,
when I was a kid,
absolutely.
we had those. That was a big deal. And finally, engineers in Canada. This is from Surrey, British Columbia. They're trying to figure out, this is such a weird story, trying to figure out how to remove a stretch limousine from a home without the home collapsing. Let me explain. A stretch limo barreled into the first floor of a family home. The limo was jammed into the front of the home, and engineers are working on a way to prop up the house so they can get the limousine out without causing more damage. Essentially, the limousine right now is supporting the entire home from collapsing. So I don't know if they've got this figured out. I got this story about a week ago. I have a couple stories here from like a week ago that I hadn't had a chance to read yet. So I finally said I'm moving those to the top of my list for my scoop of the day because I don't want them to be, back in August. It wasn't quite that long ago. But anyway, can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
A car crashing into a house causing so much damage that if they pull the car out, the rest of the house would collapse. So they're trying to figure out how to get the car out of there. I hope they got the people out of the car already, because if not, that
I'm
could
sure
be really.
they did. Otherwise, that would have been in the story.
I would
They should just
assume.
let the house collapse, and then insurance can build them a new one.
That would be sad. I don't think that's a good idea. This has been your scoop of the day.
John and Heidi.
Your credit score really matters when it comes to credit cards, home loans, and car loans. It makes a big difference in whether or not you qualify for the best rates or even get the loan. But did you know that your credit score can also affect the price when you get your insurance too? Many people never even check their credit score, but sadly, errors happen all the time. CreditRepair800.com would like to help you repair your credit and make sure you have the best possible credit score. Get the details on how our program works at CreditRepair800.com. That's CreditRepair800.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us. We're going to talk about a topic that has always fascinated me. I've always just been completely fascinated when it comes to UFOs and things like that. And on the line with us, we have Grant Cameron. He's been a UFO researcher since 1975, and we've got a book called Charlie RedStar, The True Reports of One of North America's Biggest UFO Sightings. Mr. Cameron, how are you, sir?
Just fine, John. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate your interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, like I said, this has always been a topic that has fascinated me. I as a child, I remember sitting in a beautiful countryside looking at the stars, and I saw all of these stars out there, and you can't help but look at the vastness of space and just think, what is out there? And now you've had kind of an interesting experience. Let's talk a little bit about where the book came from and the reason for writing the book, Charlie RedStar, True Reports of One of North America's Biggest UFO Sightings.
Okay, this happens in 1975. I'm a university student going to school, and a small town called Carmen, Manitoba, which is just about 25 miles north of the U.S. border, above North Dakota, starts having a bunch of sightings, and I go out there to see what everybody's looking at. I have no intention of seeing anything because I figure nothing will happen. And when I get out there, after an hour, we're driving around, we're about to go home, and the thing flies right in front of the car. It comes from the left to the right. It's a red plasma object, very sort of intense, but pulsing very slowly, bobbing up and down. It wasn't flying sort of in a straight line. And I was just so fascinated with what I'd seen. I dragged all my friends out 2 nights later, and they didn't really stick around for very long. They went home. But the second night, it came directly at us and came in fairly close. And I was sort of hooked on the fact that this town was getting inundated with these sightings. So I spent about a year and a half in and around the town interviewing people, put together a manuscript that nobody would publish in the 1970s. And then a couple of years ago, somebody wanted to option the story for a movie, and they actually pushed the book to be published. If it had been up to me, it probably never would have got published.
Well, that's really cool. So the option for the movie, have they taken that option? Is that something that they're going to be moving forward with?
Yeah, well, the option went for a couple of years, and then the woman got very, very sick, the one that optioned it. So it's still in the queue, but I'm not sure when it's going to happen.
Again, the book is called Charlie Redstar. Now, the name Charlie Redstar, is that what they were calling the red object then, Charlie?
Yeah, there was one woman who wrote a poem about sort of Indian chief Charlie Redstar. And then it actually got so popular in the town that they were actually using it to advertise. They would put in the newspaper, "Shop where Charlie Redstar shops," and stuff like that. So it was a pretty popular name.
Now, what is the name of the town in which this all of this happened?
Yeah, this was Carmen, Manitoba, which is about 25 miles north of the North Dakota border.
And this happened in 1975, so it's over 40 years ago. But the thing that's really fascinating, to this day, it's still one of the biggest UFO sightings. More people have seen this one, correct?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of sightings happening right along the Canadian-U.S. border. There was in Minnesota, there was quite a few. In Wisconsin, at exactly the same time, there were so many in Wisconsin that the CIA actually sent 2 agents at one town to investigate. In Fargo, North Dakota, there was a very major abduction that took place basically the same time I had my sighting. Just outside of Fargo, North Dakota. So there was a lot of activity along the Canadian-U.S. border in 1975 for whatever reason.
Well, that is fascinating. Do you know what the date was in 1975 by chance? Like when this was going on, like the time frame, what part of year?
Oh, it started in February of 1975, and it sort of tailed off in 1975, which coincided with an operation that was going on in North Dakota. In North Dakota, the only anti-ballistic missile unit that ever went operational in February of 1975. The Americans set up 100 new nuclear weapons to shoot down incoming Soviet ICBMs, and that they start putting them in 1975 in February. They start taking them out in November, and that's basically when the sightings were at their heaviest. And I asked the guy who ran the airport in this small town of Carmen, how many sightings he'd had in 1975. He said about 150, and I said, how many have you had since 1976? And he said none.
Wow.
Like the CIA took the drugs out of the water. They were there, very intense, for about a year and a half, and then it just went away and has never come back.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, the book, is it available right now if people are wanting to read Charlie Redstar?
Yes, it's available now, and Amazon, I guess, is the main place people will find it.
Again, our guest today, Grant Cameron. He's the author of Charlie Redstar, True Reports of One of North America's Biggest UFO Sightings. And it happened in the year I was born, Grant. That's why I was asking what time frame. I was born in November, so that's right about when they ended. So I just wondered if maybe I came from another planet. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm just being goofy. Well, Grant, thank you again for taking the time to chat with me, and I appreciate you taking the time that you put into this book as well. So many people had seen it, but it's great that somebody actually chronicled all this and put it together. And it's fascinating to me that it went all those years, almost 40 years, without it being published. It was just, you had put it together, but it just kind of sat there. And what does that feel like to have somebody come to you and say, hey, I want to option this for a movie and I want to publish the darn thing? That's got to feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising to me because I had basically given up on it because the main publisher who should have published it in the 70s said, Mr. Cameron, you may believe in this kind of stuff, count me among the unbelievers. And that was when I sort of went on a chase and gave up on the sightings and started to chase the U.S. president and the Canadian government and high-level CIA people and to find out what they knew. And I just sort of given up on the sighting aspect. But it's good the story's out because it basically tells why I fell down the rabbit hole because it basically changed my life when it happened.
It sounds like a fascinating story, and if you're interested in the story, we've got the book available. It's Grant Cameron is the author. CharlieRedStar is the name of the book. True Reports of One of North America's Biggest UFO Sightings, and it's available now. I've got a link to it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
Are you paying a bundle to the cable company? Cut the cable and save with the all-new ChannelSurferTV.com. We've added several solutions that could save you money every month. We have dish TV options and internet TV solutions that start from just $20 a month. We even have an HD TV antenna for $30 to get the local channels with no monthly fee. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. We'll do our very best to find the perfect TV solution for you. ChannelSurferTV.com. Movies and TV with a low monthly fee. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Steve Young threw a record 6 touchdown passes in one Super Bowl in 1995.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. That is amazing. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Diarrhea was alleviated by a medicine during the Vietnam War that U.S. troops called it liquid cork.
Okay.
That's actually kind of I wonder, there are times that I think maybe I should see if I can get you got a bottle of that somewhere? It's been a while, thank goodness. Maybe a little
I think anybody needs
too much
to know
information.
that.
Is that what you're saying? Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Albert Einstein, pretty smart dude.
Yes.
He once called nationalism the measles of mankind.
Okay.
And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Bird experts recommend that you have your bird bath filled at 2 1/2 inches deep. Anything deeper than that, the birds could actually be harmed. And anything, shallower than that, then it's really not a bird bath. It's like a puddle. So There you go. 2 1/2 inches of water in a bird bath. Couple of fun facts brought to you by PinkDrinkFree.com.
John and Heidi.
Are you struggling with addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help, and your insurance may offer coverage.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-438-0380, 800-438-0380.
Now, the word of the day on a Wednesday. Incipient. Have you ever heard that? Incipient.
I have not.
Or incipient, I guess is how you say it. There's like an EE in here for the pronunciation. Incipient. I've actually heard it before. An adjective. Beginning to be or appear. So something incipient is like just beginning. Beginning to be or appear. The incipient division within the company hierarchy did not bode well for the bottom line on the stock price. Incipient.
Okay. I will probably never use that word either.
I don't know that I will either. But if I do, incipiently, then it would be really difficult to squeeze into a sentence without sounding like a big old nerd. I don't think I used it right either.
I don't think you did either, but that's okay.
The good news is, I don't really care. I got some weird news coming your way. Thanks for listening on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
Here's Luca from Luca's Boutique. Tell us about the items we'll find at Luca's Boutique.
We have 100% Italian design and Italian made leather goods, artisanally made by artisans, for example, that are commissioned by Gucci, Prada to make bags. We use the same artisans because we know them.
You'll love the fine Italian styles at Luca's Boutique. Leather purses, belts, and more. Learn more at fineitalianstyles.com.
This is Luca from Luca's Boutique, and we have fine Italian styles.
fineitalianstyles.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, some weird news on a Wednesday. I always try to save up the weirdest of weird for Wednesdays because I just think Weird News Wednesdays, the day that you got to have the weirdest of weird, right?
Right.
Listen to this.
All right.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Get ready for this one. A trial judge in the Philippines was recently dismissed from his duties for his belief that he's publicly saying that he disagrees with being let go. He doesn't think he should be let go for this. What does he believe? Well, this judge says, I can see into the future, and I have 3 mystical dwarfs, Armand, Louise, and Angel, who advise me.
Oh, yeah, that's disturbing.
That's perfectly fine. At least you have an excuse. No, he's had some interesting things that he's ruled on. The country's Supreme Court heard of this judge's methods, and they conducted a 3-year investigation, and then they fired him, and they fined him. 3
Were his rulings
years?
bad?
His rulings were
these
interesting.
dwarfs telling him to do bad things?
I don't know. I just think it's very interesting that that's going on in the Philippines.
Because, I mean, if they have good judgment, they might as well just let him.
Well, that Armand has got good judgment, but Louise and Angel, those two, you got to watch out for those two. They're kind of wily. This has been your Weird News on a Wednesday. Now your moment of duh. Jose Jimenez, age 26. Now I got to make sure we tell you this is not Bill Dana's fictional character. I've got a link to that too. There's a comedian, Bill Dana, that has a fake character, Jose Jimenez, and this is somebody different. This is the real guy. He was trying to hide from police by ducking into a cell phone store, and he was caught there applying for a job. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
He ran over an officer's foot while he was being pulled over for a traffic stop, and he sped off. Officer spotted his vehicle a day later and gave chase, and he was able to ditch his car in a parking lot. He ran inside a cell phone store. When he got in there, he said, "You guys hiring in here?" And he sat down and started filling out an application. When police entered the store, they actually saw that he was being interviewed for a position. The manager said, "I had no idea that this job applicant was on the run. He introduced himself to me, cool as a cucumber." This is a quote out of the story here. "No sweaty hands, clean shirt, pretty well groomed. Jose was taken away in cuffs. No word on whether or not he gets the job." So, how are you?
Pretty sure he's not going to get that job.
How are you under pressure? Well, I'd say pretty darn good.
I'd say I'm pretty cool under pressure.
Cool as a cucumber, as you put it. I've got a link to this story, and I've got a link to Bill Dana's Jose Jimenez routine in case you want to see that.
You would hire that man.
I probably would. I'm like, this guy's awesome. Did you see that? He ran over an officer's foot. It's not like he was killing people. And
you're making excuses.
Well,
you're making excuses for the man.
I'm just saying, this guy is cool and under pressure. He didn't mean to. It was an accident. And then he was like, oh, no, I'm in trouble. Anyway, I just think it's kind of an interesting story. No, I probably wouldn't hire him on second thought. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
Your credit score really matters when it comes to credit cards, home loans, and car loans. It makes a big difference in whether or not you qualify for the best rates or even get the loan. But did you know that your credit score can also affect the price when you get your insurance too? Many people never even check their credit score, but sadly, errors happen all the time. CreditRepair800.com would like to help you repair your credit and make sure you have the best possible credit score. Get the details on how our program works at CreditRepair800.com. That's CreditRepair800.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. She still won't stop bugging me here. So what do you said I would hire this guy that ran over?
You would definitely hire this
Why
man.
would I do that?
Because I've seen some of the people you have hired in the past, and this sounds like a candidate right up your alley.
That I would say everybody deserves a second chance. And
you definitely
agree.
would. And you would make the argument that, did you see how calm, cool, and collected he was when he came in here?
There was a manhunt looking for the guy, and he was in here, didn't break a sweat. He's over there filling out the application. $12.50 an hour? That's not bad. Thank you. Kind of benefits do you guys have?
You would hire him.
Is there a savings plan? Do we happen to have a company attorney? All right. If you missed that story, it's on our Facebook page. We have some good news coming your way. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
I always like to wrap this show up with some good news, and I think that this is a really cool story. Heidi sent this over. Thanks, by the way.
You're welcome.
I've got a few more that you had sent. We'll be getting to those throughout the week. I know. You've been a busy little girl. A random act of kindness goes viral with one photo that says it all.
Okay.
It's a cool story. This is maybe to be filed under the news that really shouldn't be news, but I'm glad that it is news. Sadly, these days, like every time you turn on the news, it's negative.
Right.
So it's really good to have a really cool positive story. It was such a simple little thing. It really, like I said, shouldn't be news, but in this day and age, it is. Meet 23-year-old Alonzo Johnson. It's a guy who was training to work in a child and family services area. On a trip to a mall, he was in Massachusetts, where he lives. He made the spur-of-the-moment decision that resulted in a really cool, a bunch of unexpected, good, positive recognition. I bet it's going to probably help him land a good job, too.
Probably.
He's a good guy. What did he do that's so newsworthy? Well, he helped somebody. He helped an 83-year-old man who was struggling with stepping onto an elevator that was heading down one floor. No big deal, right? It says on here, elevator. It says Paula Pritchard thought that it was. She even grabbed her phone and took a picture of the kind gesture and posted it to Facebook, not knowing that a single picture would go viral, almost to the tune of 500,000 people on her page alone, and it's been shared in other places too. It says, included in the post, feeling grateful at the Holyoke Mall at Ingleside, and there's a picture of this gentleman. Now, they had a chance to talk to the guy, the elderly gentleman. It is an escalator. It said elevator in the story.
Yeah,
I don't know why it would say
escalator.
that. But he said that he had some difficulty one other time when he was stepping on, and he was just a little bit afraid to step onto the escalator. I understand that. There are times I'm like, I don't want to step on that thing either. Anyway, this turned out to be...
He had gotten stuck on it the last time he was on it, and he was afraid to get on, and this young man came up to him and said, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, he said he was hesitant. He got stuck on a different moving escalator, made him worried. That's when Mr. Johnson listened patiently to the man, reassured him, hey, you know what, I'll be right here by your side. And they went on, arm in arm, and began the short journey together. And there's a really cool photo of the two, him holding on to him and helping him through. He said, he looked afraid, and I thought maybe I could help. So how cool is that? Again, it is such a simple thing that you wouldn't think this would be news, but with the media making everything so negative, it's awesome to see something positive.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how many people loved the fact that this worked out the way that it worked out. Now, the cherry on top is these two both happen to be different races.
Yeah.
Which we didn't even make that part of the story, but that's also one of the things that's really cool about the story. And if you go on and see the photo, you'll see what I'm talking about. In a world where the media wants you to think that people of different skin colors hate each other, you're wrong. Sometimes they do love each other, and most of the time that's the case.
Exactly.
So thank goodness that somebody was there and snapped a photo, and we got to all have a nice little heartwarming story out of this. Aww. Thanks, Heidi.
You're welcome.
Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a list or a link to this story, by the way, at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.